Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring the meeting to order. Thank you for joining us here at the Parker Planning Meeting. Terry, can I ask you to do our invocation, please?
Sure.
Outstanding.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day you've given us. We thank you for the country we live in, the state we live in, and the city we live in. We pray that the decisions we make here today will be in the interest of all those. And more than that, Lord, we ask that they will be somehow used to glorify you. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you do a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Merritt.
Here.
Ms. Powering. Here. Mr. Stryker.
Here.
And Chairman Riga.
Here, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your continued participation in what goes on here in the city. Today we're going to ask our commissioners to nominate and vote on a vice chair. We're then going to go ahead and review an application to expand some slips at Pier 98, moving from 27 to 47 slips. And I understand that there's probably going to be some dredging going on there as well. And then lastly, we've got a request to take 2 parcels of land and then split them into 4 parcels. At this time, we're going to review our January meeting. All right, we'll review the minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to do that? And then what we'll do is we'll take some items from the audience after that. Okay. Let's go ahead and look for everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yep.
Okay.
Make a motion. We
Make a
approve the
motion.
minutes.
Very good. Can I get a second, please? Very good. Madam Clerk, can we get a vote, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Merritt.
Yes.
Ms. Powering.
Yes.
Mr. Stryker.
Yes.
Chairman Riga.
Yes, and thank you. That's a real nice summary that you put together. It looks exceptionally good. Very good. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, there are times when the chair has to be absent. So our credo here is that we have a vice chair. Our prior vice chair is no longer with us. So I've asked our commissioners to nominate a vice chair. And then what I'll look for is a nomination, a second, and then a vote. Any ideas?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Stryker.
Very good. Very good. Terry, are you willing to be our
I'm
vice
willing
chair?
to do that, yes.
Very good. Can I get a second then?
I'll second that.
Very good. Madam Clerk, can we get a vote, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Merritt.
Yes.
Ms. Powering.
Yes.
Mr. Stryker.
Yes.
And Chairman Riga.
Absolutely. Terry, congratulations to you. Thank
Nice.
you. Yay. All right, very good. Mr. Buckholz, can we ask you to come on up?
Yes, sir.
We probably have a couple of questions here for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is an application for a shoreline construction and dredging permit.
There's no dredging.
No dredging. Isn't that interesting? Okay, I saw
And
that
there's
here.
also, if I may, sorry, but
Please do.
You said it's 22 boats from 22 to 42, not from 20, whatever you said. So.
Okay. All right, well, we just had, that's okay.
I
So
just
we're
want-
going from 22 to 42?
42.
So it's just an increase of 20 slips?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And
Well,
quick-
actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, actually, it's actually, we have 22 slips. We're gonna lose 6 of those, but we're gonna put in 26 new ones. So it's a net gain of 20 slips.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we saw that. So here's what I think your engineers put together this summary for us, and here's what they say, just so that we're all clear. So you've got 27 new slips for a total of 47 slips, and then ultimately you're gonna remove some of them and making way for the new slips
Correct.
to be put into place. Okay, and so do we have any questions for Mr. Buckholz?
I've got one, I don't know if it belongs here, but I can ask
Sure,
it.
please do.
I'm not familiar with how marinas work. I'm familiar with RV camping. And I know we look at power, water, and sewage. Make sure we have those things. How does that work at a marina?
Well, we don't have sewage, and we have power on the dock. We don't, you know, Parker and we don't rather Parker did not allow liveaboards.
Right.
So there's very little power in water, because they're, you know, boats. Some of the people won't come down to their boat for once in 2 months, you know.
Right.
In summertime they'll come more often, so there's not hardly any impact on water or sewer.
You have water at each slip and power at each slip?
Well, we
Or
have
is it
power
just-
between slips, so if somebody needs it, they can,
Yeah.
or one, yes.
Okay, okay.
And I think the state has identified a liveaboard is no more than 5 consecutive days, or
Right.
no more than 10 days per month. And I think that that's the requirement.
Yeah.
Well, we don't, yeah, we let people come on a weekend if they're coming down and do something like that.
Exactly.
If I may reference
Please do.
something in the LDR, it says water-dependent development marinas specifically, all new, expanded, or redeveloped marinas shall, and it lists a whole litany of things, and number 7 is have adequate sewage treatment facilities to serve the anticipated volume of waste, and that's in.
Yes,
am I
anticipated
misinterpreting that?
volume of waste, and I think it's because Buck falls under the no liveaboards policy. And the state says if you don't have liveaboards in a marina, then ultimately you do not require that sewage pump out mechanism. They do have access to pump out at other marinas. I think when City Marina was available, there was a pump out there. I know that there is one at the old Marriott, which is what's that one there
Bay
now?
Point Marina.
Bay Point Marina, exactly. There are pump outs elsewhere. So if they oftentimes get gas or diesel at other locations, that's generally when they'll also pump out, you know, but,
I didn't see that designation in here. It does not say anything in this part I just read about
Yeah.
being exempt if they don't have liveaboards. Again, 5.3.2
Mhm.
specifically, now below that, 5.3.4, marinas with fueling facilities will provide pump-out facilities at each fuel dock, period. So I assume that's pump out for fuel. I don't know if it's fuel or,
Pump out would be for sewage.
And we don't offer it and we don't have it.
yeah.
okay, commercial marinas and those with liveaboard, it does say shall provide and prohibit inappropriate sewage pump out. So
Yeah.
I'm not seeing an
Designation
exemption for non,
liveaboards.
right.
Yeah.
I'm not reading that, but
And interesting enough, there is state law that also defines that you cannot have a rule in a municipality more stringent than their own. So the state law being that you only require that pump out if it's going to be a liveaboard. So if that is not appropriately designated or properly written within our own LDRs, it's a good catch, and it needs to be corrected.
okay.
Because, in other words, Parker can't say that, that our rules here to have a marina in the municipality is more stringent than the state laws. We can be less, but we can't be more stringent.
Even if given the geography of where we are and not having adequate water flow to disperse folks that don't abide by the rules.
Well,
The
that-
fact that we're sort of at an end of a road there compounds
Yeah.
the problem if it isn't, and this also says that, and shall provide, and prohibit inappropriate sewage pump out.
Yeah.
So what will be in place to prohibit and enforce illegal dumping?
I think signage is necessary, but also signage, each of the yacht manufacturers have a requirement to put to put it so that you cannot dump. I mean, I think for the last 25 years, you can't have a boat that'll dump directly overboard. You've either gotta have that locked, you've gotta have that, there used to be a petcock that would either send it to the tank or send it, overboard. And you had to be, what, Buck?
It's 10 miles from there.
10 miles, 10 miles into federal waters in order to do that and have a macerator pump and all that sort of thing. But good catch, because if it is in the LDRs, then it's something that we probably need to revisit, because the rule within the state, they have sort of supremacy guidelines which prevent us from having more stringent rules than their own.
Okay.
Yeah, good questions though.
And in our case, if I may, in our rule, number one, we've been there for 3 years and never one time have experienced an issue. And number two, if we had an issue like that, they would be removed, because that wouldn't be tolerable for us no matter what.
Well, and the other thing too is the fines are exorbitant. I mean, if you're pumping raw sewage into a bay like this, they're clear, and everybody knows you're not supposed to do that. And most marinas have that stuff posted, and the fines are enormous. So hopefully we don't have any boneheads doing that, because that just destroys the environment for everybody. But the good news is the rules and the state laws specifically identify that you don't require a pump out if you don't allow liveaboards. And those marinas that do allow liveaboards do have to have those pump outs.
Okay.
And that's generally where you go in order to pump out those, those tanks.
Okay, thank you.
Or you just walk up to the restaurant and have a Mai Tai and enjoy Buck's bathroom up there.
All right,
And
there
keep
you
the
go.
tanks
Absolutely,
all
we
clean.
have outdoor restrooms for the boats.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly right.
And they all have combinations to it, so they can get into it 24 hours a day.
Yes, sir. One thing that that is amazing to me is how much regulation has to go through. So Art Construction is the company that's
Yes.
that's going to be taking care of this. And I see that the Florida Department of Environmental Protection is overseeing. I mean, that's a requirement.
Well, they've
Okay,
approved
this
it,
is
yeah.
this is all from them.
Yeah.
And of course, the Army Corps of Engineers, and there's Bay County that has to issue a permit. Then there's a submerged land authorization, and I know that once the project is approved, is when they go ahead and provide that. So, do they require that submerged? Yeah, I
Yeah, I
guess you
have
would have
one.
to. You already have for the new
Yep.
extension, and then of course there's the underwater land lease, and then there's the Florida Coastal Zone Management Program that has to be in place. I'm imagining your contractor is going to take care of that. And then there's a water quality certification, turbidity screens that go in the water to make sure that whatever poles are putting into the ground aren't going to exceed a certain turbidity. I think it's like 29.
I'm not
Something
real
like
familiar
that.
with
Okay, and then of course there's the standard manatee conditions that would apply, and apparently the work, this is all state stuff. So if they see a manatee within 50 feet of the construction zone, they have to immediately stop until the manatee moves along. So there's 8 permits, and I know you don't have to require. It's smaller than a 10-acre build. Is that right?
Yes. Small.
That allows the state to make the decision independently of the feds. So that's a good thing. So, do we have any other questions for Buck about this project?
I had a question, and might be back to us, but I see the permit says approval for shoreline construction and dredging permit, but I also see on number 38 for the document, it says no dredging permitted. If we recommend this to city council, are we recommending that it's shoreline construction and the dredging, even though he said he's not asking for that, or?
Let me just ask Ingrid this, because I saw that too, and even their own engineer said no dredging.
Yeah.
That's in the paperwork, that no dredging would take place. But I only read it because it says application for shoreline construction and dredging permit.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I know you've got one slip that's silted in and you're saying it's non-usable. I would think that if you were gonna do dredging, then you would have dredged that one. And because you're not, then ultimately, that would indicate that no dredging. So when this goes to council for final review, I think we have to remove the dredging permit, because they're expanding the number of slips, but there's not gonna be any dredging, and there's not gonna be a dredging permit. Okay? Right? Okay. Am I missing anything, guys? Okay. Well, it looks like every permit has been either applied for or gotten. So, Buck, do you have any questions for us?
No, sir.
All right. One other thing, I did find one inconsistency. I think your project engineer identifies that this is a Class 2 Florida waterway. It's both a Class 2 and a Class 3, but you reference it, Class 3 later on. Class 2 is like shellfish, and then you don't need to know that. I'm sure they'll take care of that. Okay. If we have no other questions, what I would recommend is that we get a motion on the floor for either approval with conditions, or denial. If approval or approval with conditions, that include that we identify that this particular application does not include dredging, and the applicant knows that. It was just sort of something that came up. And that also, that all permits that we identified, those 8 FDEP, Army Corps of Engineer, Bay County, which I think you already have the Bay County permit, it looks like. I thought I saw it in here somewhere.
Yeah, I got so many paper, because I paid
Yeah.
somebody to handle this for us.
And then the suburb
It's
land
above me, it's above
authorization.
my pay grade.
I got you. And then Florida Coastal Zone Management Program, water quality. They're gonna put what they call turbidity screens in, Buck, just so that you'll know. And when the turbidity gets above, they have a measurement of 29, then they have to stop until it settles back down and then continue again. Just because it's a Class 2 waterway, which shellfish live there. So what happens is when you kick up too much silt, it harms the wildlife, so they'll slow down. And then the last one is just the manatee, which we identified, but it looks like that, they already have all that stuff. So I'll ask for a,
Mr. Riga, one more question?
please.
Will you have a boat ramp facility for people launching boats
No.
and removing their
No.
boats? And, okay, where
No.
where will you recommend they go for that?
Well, right at the pier where the new place you guys built at the park down there, where people go. When people lease spaces from us, they're already in the water. I don't know where they necessarily launch from.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, too, even
Please.
as the standard conditions that we put in every development order.
Very good. So the motion would include standard conditions being added in any development order, along with it be corrected that there is no dredging that will take place as part of this project, and that all of the state and federal permits, I know the Army Corps of Engineers federal, and I think everything else is state, be in place.
Conditions within those permits would also apply.
Very good, very good. So I'll ask for a motion, approval with conditions, or denial.
Make a motion, we approve this, forward a recommendation for approval to the council with standard conditions, striking the
Dredging
dredging
piece.
permit.
Very good. So we have a motion on the floor for approval, striking the dredging piece, and that all standard conditions and all permits are gotten prior to development. Do I have a second?
A second.
Madam Clerk, can we get a vote, please?
Perfect. Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Merritt?
Yes.
Ms. Powering?
Yes,
Mr. Stryker?
Yes.
And Chairman Regan.
Yes, and Buck, thanks.
Yeah.
Did you ever get that, the bait station or everything out at the new pier that got put in? Is that all in place yet?
The power is supposed to be done in about 10 days, and the vending machines are supposed to be here in about 25 days.
Outstanding.
And so it should be done before, our goal is certainly to have it done as fast as we can, but it should be done by not later than the second week in March, maybe sooner.
Outstanding.
So,
Well, these new piers are gonna be beautiful.
can I say one
Sure,
thing here
please.
that might someday save a lot of headaches for somebody? For us to get to the point to submit DEP and all that, we spent about $25,000 just, on the water testing and all the things that go with that. It would seem to me that it would make sense that if you folks did your part before those permits were put in place, because it'd be a mess if came in here, somebody spent $25,000 to do it, and then they got turned down,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit, it's like the cart's before the horse. a
Let
little
me
bit.
tap Mr. Sloan's mind here for a second. I think we can review an application prior to all the permits being in place, but just have to put the condition that all permits be in place before construction begins. Is that not right?
Well, a few years ago, they changed the law on that. It used to be what Mr. Buckles is saying, that the city was the last one to see it, but the way it's written now, you technically can't make the obtaining of the permits a condition to the issuance of the city permit, so theoretically you can do it at an earlier time.
You could, okay. So I
I'm just
think,
mentioning that,
well, I think he just answered you, Buck. It sounds like we could have done it, but then we would have to put the condition on it that all those permits would have to be in place before construction could begin.
Yeah, well, it's just when I came in to apply, they said, we can't do anything until you get the DEP permits, and so it was just a,
Okay.
and I could just
Yeah.
see, we believe we've never made any unreasonable requests and never expected any problems, but someday there could be something nobody
Yeah.
thought about, and somebody spent $25,000 just to
Yeah.
get to this
No,
meeting.
that's a heck of an investment, yeah.
So, anyway.
And of course, we're an advisory council, but the council members get a chance to look at this vote, and you had a unanimous yes vote, so they'll look at that for their final decision. They're the governing body that ultimately will make the final choice.
Yeah,
But
well,
as
I'm
long as
confident in
you're,
that, but I'm just saying sometime there might be something, you know, ours is pretty simple, but down the road, I mean, that's a lot of money to spend to be subject to possibly just, oh, somebody didn't think of something and $25,000 went down the drain.
absolutely.
Thank you
agree.
all.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
thank you, sir. Appreciate what you're doing for Parker.
Yes, sir, we've loved this place.
It's a great city. Great little hidey hole here. All right. So the next thing on the docket here is an application for a parcel split. Do we have somebody here representing that group? Would you state your name, sir?
James McConnell, I'm the owner of the property on Cole Drive.
Mr. McConnell? Okay, very good. And can I ask just a couple of questions here? Sure. It said building 2 houses on it. So this is gonna be, you have 2 lots, and you're splitting each lot one time, right? So now you'll have 4 lots, is that what we're doing?
No. Okay, so let me give you the backstory. So when I bought it, it's one parcel. And if you look at the survey, that's probably what you're looking at. You'll see that the adjacent parcels are all split. I mean, are, you know, already, you know, obviously are split because they have houses on them. So when I bought this one, I just, you know, assumed that, you know, you just extend the lot lines into my property and, you know, you got 4 lots next to each other just like you already do.
Yes, sir.
But when I came last year, they said I couldn't do that without
It would be
doing
probably they were thinking it would be a subdivision at that point?
Yes, that's
Yes,
right,
sir.
that's right, that's right,
So,
that's right.
so which of which parcel do you own of this, on this survey?
The highlighted one.
Okay, well, that looks like 4 separate lots.
Well, it's 4 separate lots on the survey because I asked the surveyor to separate it into 4 separate lots that match the adjacent lots.
Okay.
So when I brought it here the last time, that it made sense.
Okay.
And so that's why it has 4 lots on there.
Okay, but it started at one tract?
Yes, it started with one lot, yeah.
Okay. Now-
Is it still one track?
Yes,
Still
and
one
that's
lot.
why I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I was confused about
Yeah,
it.
sorry
When I saw
about that,
the
yeah.
four, and then
3 or more.
Right. So this is one tract, and at this time, we're asking for it to be divided into parcel 1, 2, 3, and 4?
No, just
No.
1 and 2.
One and
Just-
two.
There's
just 1 and
squiggle
2.
lines. If you look
Okay.
closely, there's a line delineating.
And I'm sorry, that was yeah, you're right. There's one deleted, but that,
He's
that
trying
wasn't
to
very,
mark out those
that wasn't
lines
very
in there.
professional. But but anyways, let me just finish here real quick. I may need to table this to the next meeting if that's possible. Here's why. And believe it or not, just a few hours ago, someone made me aware that if I'm wrong and saying something that's not right, you don't need to let me finish, stop me in mid-sentence. But they said if it was platted prior to 1972, it didn't fall under that particular thing that makes you do something else, makes you have subdivision, you know, requirements or something like that. And that's what I was told. I don't know if that's true. That's literally just a couple hours ago. So I went on and found on the W.H. Parker plats that has several lots in Parker. Now I haven't scoured it and found that exact parcel, but it looks like most of them are 75 foot, which still wouldn't give me 4 lots that I want. But it would give me 3. So that's why I'm saying if I can table this till next time and maybe give me a little more time to.
Yeah,
Unless somebody here is a subject matter expert and they already know, I mean, I'm asking. Literally, it was 2 hours ago that I was told this.
let me look it up real fast. So this is one large parcel today.
That's correct.
And you want to separate it into 1 and then 2, and then 3 and 4 would still remain one half acre approximately?
you want us to take the whole thing and separate it into 2 lots.
Well, okay. So, again,
Instead of
prior
four,
to,
You wanna
Maybe
do
thirds.
2 instead
I
of
would,
4?
I would love to do 4 if you guys said go for it.
Well,
I'd love to.
Well, you can, except then you fall under a different.
Exactly, where I've
You
gotta have the
fall under
civil
a different
engineers
set
come.
of rules,
Yes.
which turns it into a subdivision.
That's right.
And then you just have to familiarize yourself with
Right.
what that is. It's not that you can't, it's
Right.
just that it becomes, we
I
then
can't do it
follow.
cost effectively.
Well, I'm not sure it wouldn't be cost effective.
Well, for me,
I
it
would
wouldn't
just,
be.
I would just go through what it means in the city of Parker to abide by the rules.
Sure.
Being under a subdivision as opposed to just a simple lot split and building 2 single-family homes.
Sure.
Okay,
So I mean, and again, I don't know, I'm asking, so it's already a subdivision there that was already done that way the first time, is that what you're saying? In other words, the adjacent
There are
property?
lots- There are lots on the plat of the W.H. Parker plat.
Uh-huh.
But without seeing the plat, I don't know.
Right, okay,
what
gotcha,
the-
and that's what I gotta find,
what
I
this
gotcha,
is. So there's not enough information for me to say
yes or no.
you're doing 2 or 4 or
I gotcha.
or whatever was there to
And
start.
that's what I thought, that's why I was asking if we can table it till the
Yeah,
next meeting.
and
Because
again,
if I can get, if the 75-foot holds true to this particular parcel, then I know I can get 3 lots.
tell me
you
about
know.
what you're talking about, 75 feet.
Well, just on the some of the parcels on the W.H. Parker plat, and these are old ones. These are prior to 1972. Again, and I'm not trying to take up you guys' time with last
Oh,
minute stuff.
listen, we're
So,
here for you, sir.
You know, that's
Yeah,
why I said
take your time.
I would
Just
table it till next
Tell me
time,
about the
but-
75 feet.
Well, that's the W.H. Parker plat size of these lots, the 75 feet.
The only requirement we have is that, and this is low-density residential, is that right?
I
Low-density
don't know.
residential, we know?
Pretty sure.
What's the address? Because I don't see the address on here.
Yeah, there's no address for some
There's
reason.
not?
Yeah.
It's right off of Nicole Drive.
Yep.
Okay, let's operate based on the concept that it's low-density residential area. I think what you might be thinking about is 7,500 square feet would be the smallest lot you could have. However,
And you're right. That's
however-
what it says, but this is 75 feet. Is what it
Okay.
says, not 7,500. 75 feet with the arrows.
right, and it could be 75
Show it.
feet narrow, but
Right.
you need to have it, and there's both density rules and size limits.
Gotcha.
And it needs to meet both.
Both of them, sure,
essentially.
sure.
So, but here's how that could happen.
Yeah.
So right now in Parker, if you have 1 acre of land, you can segregate that into 5 different single-family homes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do the math on it, an acre is a little over 43,000 square feet. I think it's 43,560. Divide that by 5, you come up to about 8,800 square feet.
Sure.
So people are saying, well, how can you have that rule and then have the minimum 7,500? You can take, for example, that acre of land and make lots 1, 2, 3, and 4 bigger, but the last lot has got to be at least 7,500 square feet. That way you're
Gotcha.
not violating the density rule and you're not violating the minimum lot size rule.
Makes sense.
So, in terms of subdivisions, because there's already a road there, there's not a need for you to put a road in, but the subdivision rules do say other things, that we prefer, sidewalks. There are certain things that you have to do in order to abide by the subdivision
Sure,
rules.
sure.
If it's just, and here's the other thing you gotta consider, so if this is one large parcel of land and you're just gonna split it in 2, so you got what, about an acre there right now, total acre?
I'm not
Looks,
sure.
looks like each one's like 0.25, so if each one's 2.5 split into 4, you get.
44,000 square feet.
Okay, so you've got,
Close to an acre.
yeah, so the situation here is if you just split it in 2, and then you've got parcel 1 and 2 is one parcel, and then parcel 2 and 3 is the second parcel, you can do that. However, if you're gonna split parcel 1 and 2 as depicted in your diagram here, that's still a subdivision
Right.
because parcel 3 and 4 become the third lot.
Gotcha.
So what
Makes
you'd
sense.
have to do is then abide by the subdivision rules.
Right.
So you could take this 1 acre, slightly less than 1 acre lot, cut it in half, and you've got 2
No
single-family
problems.
homes.
Yes.
But if you separate it into 2 and then still leave a half acre out there, you still have to, because The rules don't say it's about building the homes, it's about when you divide it, then it becomes a subdivision.
Right, and I was told, and I don't know if this is true, I have no clue, that subdivision rule that you're referencing, that if the property was platted prior to 1972, that it's grandfathered in and that rule does not apply. That's what I was told.
Yeah,
I
it's,
have no
that's
idea if
incorrect.
that's true or not.
That is incorrect, because the land development rules were rewritten in 2022, and then some additions.
They were originally written in 1990.
Oh, in 1990, okay.
So, as of that point in time, that requirement came into the land development regulations.
So there's no grandfather clause at all.
At one point in time, it was actually 2 or more, if you actually split it 2 or
Gotcha.
more.
I remember you I think you told me that last time.
So, so that's been in there for, what, 34, 5 years. So, the timing of the plat is not the issue. The plat may actually be segregated already into lots, and if you own 4 lots as depicted on the plat, then you may not even have to do a lot split to do what you're trying to do.
Right.
So I need to see,
The
and
plat.
the city needs to see the plat, the city needs to see your deed.
Exactly.
See how the property was deeded to you.
Yep, and that's why, that's why I was asking for a continuation.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Just to
No,
make
or
sure.
just table it.
Yeah.
We're just trying to provide,
Yeah, sure.
what the rules
And
are.
if something does
But
change,
again,
I'll give you better paperwork next time.
But you used the words earlier that if it was gonna be a subdivision, I couldn't do it. I just need you to know that's not right. You can do it. You just have to, you have to then follow certain different rules.
I shouldn't say I couldn't do it. I mean, it's not cost effective to do it.
Okay.
What I
All right.
should have said, yeah.
I mean, and quite frankly, 2 1/2 acre lots with nicer homes on it might, from a compensation standpoint.
I was
might-
just trying to match the neighborhood,
I got you.
that's all. Just
Yeah.
do what everybody else has already done.
Question,
Yes,
Mr.
please,
Riga, is there
please.
a reason that he'd have to follow this grid line? Could he literally just cut it into thirds evenly on
Yeah.
a different grid, or do you have to stay by this?
Right.
Oh, no, I can cut it into thirds evenly.
Yeah, so that
yeah,
way, rather than
yeah.
following these lines, and you talked about 1, 2, and then grouping 3 and 4, what if he just took away the center lines there, and
Yeah,
is that
just
an
a-
option?
Absolutely.
Because I put those lines there,
Depends.
guys.
Okay, I
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
you.
those lines
Okay.
weren't there.
Depends.
Yeah.
He was
I put
just,
them there.
All right.
it looks to me like
Well,
if you look at
that's-
lot
those are
1,
the-
lot 2, lot 3, and lot 4,
Too small, one large.
he was matching the grid that was
I
already
gotcha.
there.
Right,
Understood.
right,
But
that's
that,
exactly right.
you can have Terry may have like 3 or 4 acres of land right next to somebody who's got 1. There's nothing that, nothing
As long as
that
it makes
prevents
7,500 square foot, we're
Oh,
good.
it's 75, yes.
And the density,
other
remember
stuff.
the
Yeah,
density
density,
rule has
yeah.
got to come into play.
Gotcha.
Now, here's where if you had 2 parcels of land, a parcel of land where it was 15,000 square feet, you can't divide that
half.
in half because you violate the density rule.
Gotcha.
You gotta have at least, 0.4 acres to divide it in half. And you
Gotcha.
do, you've
Makes
got
sense.
almost a full acre.
Right.
But then you're right, you would have to follow, you would have to then, follow the subdivision rules.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'll,
So what I'll look for, it looks like Mr. McConnell wants to go ahead and table this. I'll look for a motion to table it until he, completes his research, and then would like to bring it back before us.
I'll make
That's
a
right.
motion. I'll make a
Okay.
motion
Right.
to do that.
thank you.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Can I get a vote, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Merritt?
Yes.
Ms. Powering?
Yes.
Mr. Striker?
Yes.
And Chairman Rita?
Yes. Thanks, Mr. McConnell. Appreciate
Thank
you
y'all, appreciate
being
it.
very straightforward with us. Very good. Terry, anything from you that you'd like to discuss with us?
Not that I can think of right now.
Very good. Ann, anything that you've got that you'd like to discuss with us?
Not that I can think of, I just need to become more familiar with the.
Oh, I do
land
have
records.
one thing. I brought this up before. There's a sign up in front of Tyndall Federal Credit Union, welcome to Parker. No semis allowed, SEMI''S. I'd like to make sure we use the English language correctly in Parker.
I saw that. And I chuckled.
What Terry's talking about, in case you haven't studied English, is that's possessive.
Possessive.
And, yeah, the semi isn't possessive, it's just plural.
Yeah.
Very good, excellent. Ingrid, anything that you'd like to discuss with the group?
I think I'll
Are
put
we
that on the
behaving
top of my
ourselves
list.
okay? Maybe Terry gets out of line a little bit? Okay,
Yes.
very good.
Can that apostrophe be whited out?
Mr.
Right.
Sloan,
Greened
anything
out?
that we need to be aware of?
Go ahead and do it, Terry.
Mr. Merritt, anything you'd like to discuss with the group?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Hall?
I'm good.
Very good. Just one little reminder, and I'm kind of glad that Ann put it in our ear. Sometime in March is when the 4 hours ethics training, so if you haven't already done that, go to that Florida website and take it. You don't have to do it all at once, just have to get it done. And then it's officially completed when you write an email to Ingrid telling her that you've completed it. It's on your honor system, but it's pretty good stuff. I mean, it's about ethics, and then it's about like public meetings and how they're conducted, notifications, things of that nature. So if you haven't already done it, please go ahead and take care of that. Very good. Now, I missed an important aspect on the agenda, and that was public. If anybody from the public wanted to address the planning group, is there anybody out there that wanted to say anything to us? I'll kind of do it backwards, but very good, very good. Well, I'll go ahead and close the meeting down. Thank you, everybody, and congratulations, Terry.